Hello, everyone. Welcome along to this week's football show here at Betfred. Delighted to say I'm joined by Nicky Summerbee, looking ahead to what is probably the biggest game of the season, the biggest game for some time in the top tier. Nicky, welcome along. I bet you can't wait for Sunday.
Absolutely, mouth-watering, and with the pair of them, they don't let us down. By far, the two best teams. And when I literally say any of these two teams can win, but one thing they will do is they will go at it. And I think Klopp and Guardiola have a lot of respect for each other, and they don't let us down. I don't think it's going to be a defensive game. Having said that, Manchester City have got a really good defensive record at the moment, but I just think it's about the forward players. There's so many battles in and around the pitch, but can't wait for it. Really can't wait for it. And I just think it's a case of it's getting in your car, putting your seatbelt on, and get on the ride. It can go any way. These two are going to give us a fantastic performance.
Yeah, let's just contextualise it, the state of play as it is at the moment, because City, of course, are 1 point ahead. They've both played the same amount of games. They just keep on winning every single game, don't they, these two sides? So you'd think it is all about this showdown now.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Obviously, the slight advantage with City with the 1 point. So obviously, if they do, when it goes to the 4 points, which makes a difference. But you look at the fixtures, what both teams have got, Liverpool and Manchester United, you have to look at that one, even though they're at home. But getting through this is vitally important. Do I think Liverpool would take a draw now? I've spoken to a lot of scousers who are over here, and they would. A few of them would, and they would be happy to be just behind Manchester City, putting the pressure on Manchester City. I don't know. I think I think it's both teams all out to get the 3 points. But Manchester City go into this with better form. They've got, it looks good for Manchester City, even though, having said that, I think when you look at the battles, I look at Liverpool and I think you have to stop the two fullbacks. I don't think I'm telling you anything new there. I think there's more creativity for Manchester City in midfield. With Van Dijk as well, who's a wonderful, wonderful footballer. But I wonder, can you get in and around him? Can you get balls in behind him? Can you just see when he's turning? Has he got that mobility, what he had before? He's wonderful, but can they try and find a weak point somewhere? And then, obviously, what they will do is they will know that Manchester City haven't got the centre forward. And I think when it gets to the end of the season now, this is what teams are doing. They're knowing that they haven't got a centre forward. They're letting them have the possession, and then all of a sudden hit them on the counter-attack. And it's you look at Liverpool's front line as well. I mean, what three is he going to play? Look at Jota, look at Diaz, Firmino, Salah. Would you say his form has maybe dipped a little bit? Is there a problem there with his contracts? Is that a little bit more than what we're actually hearing about? And I've heard so many different points of view all around from ex-footballers. When I was a footballer, I never knew what anyone was on. And I don't think anybody knows that anyone's on in a dressing room anyway. So no, how do you know? When you go in to sort your deal out, you sort it out separately. And they're trying to say, well, if he gets that top deal, Van Dijk's going to go in, he's going to go in. Nobody knows. You sort your own deal out. And he's the best player in the world at the moment, Salah. And for me, you give him what he wants. You know, no one's going to know about it. It should never be coming out this. It should have been sorted a long time ago. And I just wonder, is that a little bit of a problem there? Is that playing a little bit on Salah's mind?
Okay, let me play devil's advocate for the Liverpool fans watching this and thinking the ex-City player is giving us all the negatives and, well, saying that City are in better form. I mean, Liverpool have won 10 Premier League games in a row, Nicky.
Yeah, but I'm talking about when they played against each other. Okay. It's better for City. I'm not knocking Liverpool at all. Liverpool are in better form, and you look at 12 points clear or whatever with City, and they've clawed it back, and they look like they can win everything what they're going into. Can they do the quadruple? Yes, of course they can. They're a team there now which is phenomenal to watch. I love what Klopp's all about. I love Guardiola. I'm not saying City are the better team going into this. I'm just saying they're better when they've come head to head in the games. I'm trying to find an advantage. I'm trying to find something out of it, like everyone does. You know, and you just think, well, City, will they get a little bit more confident? You know, have they started to get that belief against Liverpool? But, you know, we'll find out on Sunday. But I'm not saying at all, I'm not knocking Liverpool. Liverpool are capable of winning everything.
Yeah, and to your point, I think Liverpool haven't won in the league at the Etihad since 2015 as well. So they have that against them going into the game. Right, before we get to your selections, your predictions for it, you touched upon Liverpool potentially winning the quadruple. That's still on the table. City could still win the treble. What's your gut feeling going into the final couple of months of the season? What do you think is still realistically possible for both?
Literally, Liverpool all. You say that they would have a better passage, not an easier passage. I don't think it's a say for the Champions League. They look like they're through to the semi-final. Obviously, Bayern Munich are trailing by a goal, but obviously they've got to play Villarreal. That could be interesting. But you look at City, if they do come through Atletico Madrid, that's a huge challenge. It's massive, obviously, with the big games in and around it, and they're obviously competing to try and win the league as well. If they get through that, it looks like at the moment maybe Real Madrid, and they're absolutely flying with Benzema. So if they do make it to the final, it'll be a massive achievement to get there. So I see Liverpool on all counts. I really do. Obviously, we have the semi-final, the FA Cup. We go again. We'll be speaking about that in the next week or so. And it's going to be these two going up against it. It would be wonderful if we could have a final, a Champions League final with them. But I see Liverpool have the advantage of getting to the final. I just think City maybe not. But both teams can win what they're in. I have no problem. We're flying the flag with the Premier League, and these two teams are running away with it. They are the teams to beat. And we have the league, which is the best league in the world at the moment, especially in Europe. And these two teams are an example of it. So anything, you could say yes to everything for both sides, but they have to meet, and one of them has to either go out.
Okay, well, let's get a Liverpool's view from it then, and we'll speak to Steve from Redmen TV, who thinks that Liverpool have got a chance of all four this season.
They've got one foot in the Champions League semi-final. They're in an FA Cup semi-final, and they're very much in the title race. Every time someone asks Jurgen Klopp this, he says, it's going to be almost impossible. And he's right to say that. And there's a reason very few teams have ever done this thing before. I would happily take one more if it was the Premier League title. I would not be greedy. I would happily take a Premier League and League Cup double. But I've got a feeling they're going to win at least two more. I just don't know which ones they'll be. But if City win a treble, I would not be shocked. And I would not be shocked if Liverpool won the quadruple from this point on, because, again, I do think these are the two best teams in Europe. I think one of them will win the Champions League. I think one of them, we know one of them will definitely win the Premier League title. And one of them is going to be in the FA Cup final against Crystal Palace or Chelsea, and they'll fancy the chance. So I think someone could win the quadruple or the treble. I just, again, fingers crossed it's the latter, the former, and it does, because I couldn't quite bear if we end up, again, being greedy, only one trophy and having such a good season. It would feel disappointing if we didn't get our hands on something else.
So great to hear from Steve then from Redmen TV. Let's get back to speaking about the top two, Nicky. Obviously, this season there does seem to be quite a gap between them, Chelsea, Tottenham, Spurs, of course, now starting to claw back a bit on Arsenal, but that gap is getting even bigger and bigger. Going forward to next season, what do you think those sides need to do?
Well, I think while Klopp is at Liverpool and Guardiola's at City, we have to look at Guardiola. He's got one more year left of his contract, so it's very important that they get him signed up. When he does go, I think it's going to be a problem, really do, for City, because how do you replace what he has done? The rest of the teams, they're a long way away, and is it a worry? It is a worry. So we look at, they've spent money. They brought big players in, but the gap is nowhere near at all. Chelsea, fantastic. We saw them winning the European Cup last season, but they are still nowhere near the title race. They were at the start of the season. You look at the squad, you look at the players and how strong they are, and they can't get near it. You look at the likes of United, obviously looking to bring a new manager in at the moment. That has to be the right manager. I agree with what everybody's been saying. It's got to be the right manager, but there is a problem at United. They've got to sort it out right the way through the club. It's a huge, huge job. So I don't see them really getting involved in the title race for quite a few years yet. Obviously, if Arsenal get in it, I like what Arteta's done, getting into the top four I'm talking about. And it's about building. It's about getting into the top four. Then all of a sudden, can we try and get some time? Can we try and make that gap smaller? And I think it's vitally important that they make that next stage by getting into the top four. Spurs, typical Spurs for me. It really is. Wonderful stadium. They've got wonderful players what can win a game of football, but it's flaky. It's just not what you expect. It's typical Tottenham, I have to say that. So they seem quite a bit of a way off. And I just think for the next couple of years, while those two managers are going to be there, they're going to run away with it. As I said before, they're flying the flag, and rightly so. And it's about as well. But it's about the business, what they're doing. It's about the signings. You know, Manchester City don't get it wrong. All right, you might say, well, Grealish, £100 million. Grealish, when he gets his hand on silverware and he gets the belief, he's going to be a star. You look at Liverpool as well, and we said about Diaz before, they don't get wrong sign. Look at Jota, we said that as well. What a signing to come in. And the other teams don't seem to get that right, like Manchester City and Liverpool.
Yeah, all the other sides are looking up with envy, aren't they, at the moment, and looking ahead to that big game at the weekend and thinking, how can we close the gap? Right, let's get back to predictions. And before we hear from Nicky, we'll hear once again from Steve from Redmen TV and also Lewis from City Xtra on what they think will happen at the weekend.
You know what? It's one of them games where it's really, really difficult to call it because both teams come to win. You know, I mean, there's a lot of games nowadays. You know, we play the likes of Chelsea. Chelsea sit back and we got to break them down. And if we break them down, we win. If they don't, they'll probably get us on the counter attack and they'll win. Same with United, same with Tottenham. All the teams play in the same way. Liverpool is the one game of the season, and I'm sure it'll be the same for Liverpool as well, where both teams just go, you know, we're going to win this game and we're going to clash. And it's basically just whoever turns up the best on the day. Like I say, City have the cushion of not needing to win the game. You know what I mean? So whether that will actually work in a sort of negative way, you know, they'll go out there maybe thinking, be a bit hesitant. We don't actually need to go forward here. I'm sure that won't be the case. I'm sure Pep Guardiola will set the team up to go and win the game. But I'm predicting a close game. I do think Liverpool have enough quality to get a goal. So I think they will score. But I'm going to go City 2, Liverpool 1.
I think it'll be a draw. I think it'll be 1-1. I don't think it'll be free scoring because both sides are really good defensively as well. As great as they are attacking, like, you forget, like, they've probably got the 2 best goalies in the league, 2 of the best in the world. You know, 4 of the best centre halves in the league as well. They're all going to be on display. So 2 of the best 2 of the best 3 probably defensive midfielders in the league. So we talk about all this free flow and attacking, but there's a reason, you know, Liverpool don't concede many. Manchester City concede even fewer. So they are just 2 absolutely fantastic sides. I guessed it would be 1-1, which again isn't the best result. It isn't the worst result. It kind of leaves you in limbo a little bit. I'll be absolutely delighted, obviously, if we can win. And Liverpool are more than capable of winning there. But our record at the Etihad isn't actually that good, truth be told. We don't often win there. Especially, it's weird. The better we've become under Jurgen, the less we've won at the Etihad. We used to beat them semi-regularly with a worse team. They've gotten better and we've gotten better. And yeah, we do struggle there, which it doesn't really make sense, but it kind of is what it is. But yeah, I think it'll be a draw, but I'm not writing us off. If anyone can go there and beat them, it's us.
Right, thanks to Steve and to Lewis. Then Steve thinks maybe he'll only get a point at the weekend. Nicky, the City fan, Lewis, pretty confident. What about you then? What's your gut feeling?
There's obviously going to be goals, and you can't see either side not scoring. I always think it's a safe bet. I say a 2-1, and you could literally go either way with that. But I just think City, I do. And I'm not just saying it because I was an ex-player, but I just think they've got a bit of home advantage. I think the crowd will be behind them, and they've got that belief. And I just think it's 2-1. But that could be 2-1 either way. Really could be.
Goals guaranteed then, at least. And in terms of a goal scorer, because we are doing a light hat-trick heaven on first goal scorer bets for every single game in the Premier League, who might be on the score sheet this weekend?
I might go for City to trail at the start. So I might go for, you have to say Salah. I did say that. Or if not, I'll say Mane. What a player, by the way, yeah. So maybe they strike first and then City have the belief to get back into it.
Okay, that could be a hammer blow, couldn't it? If City get the 3 points right. That is to come, of course, on Sunday. Let's have a look at some of the other big games over the weekend, starting on Friday, Nicky. Newcastle taking on Wolves. Newcastle with that heavy defeat against Spurs last time out. Wolves still in the hunt for European football. It's a tricky one to call, isn't it? I just get the feeling maybe with Newcastle that obviously the away form has been poor, but of late maybe they've done enough and just taken the foot off the gas a little.
Yeah, I think the belief's there. I think they've made the right signings from where they were, where it was going to look like it was going to be a disaster and get relegated. I think they're more or less safe. I think they can win games. I think that was a little bit of a wake-up call for them to show them how much work is required. But from where they were, when the manager came into where they are now, there's that belief there. There's that excitement about the future. But they come up against a Wolves side, which is so difficult to play against. Manchester City got to play them as well, and they had a difficult side. You've got to break them down. Possibly not scored as many goals as what they'd like. Maybe that's something they're going to work on, but it's a hard nut to crack this. But I just think Newcastle, that belief's there. A lot of these players are playing for the futures as well. You know, you want to be part of this era. You want to be a part of it when they start spending the money and bringing that next quality of player on. So that, as I said, they're fighting for their careers. I think it's a difficult game, this, and I would stick a draw on this.
Okay, score draw? It won't be 0-0, will it?
No, score draw, definitely. 1-1.
Okay. Score draw, 1 for the goals galore extra coupon then. Let's move on to the early kickoff then on Saturday. Everton taking on Manchester United. What a big game this is for both. Of course, Everton really struggling now after yet another defeat away from home against Burnley in midweek. I thought the key thing for them this season, Nicky, was they are the worst away side in the Premier League. I wasn't confident going into that one. At home, they have been a little better, but they're up against the United sides who are trying to bounce back themselves. It's a tough one, isn't it?
I think it's 1-2 in 7 games with Everton. I think everyone spoke, and I agree with what everyone said, is that they have to use that home advantage, getting the crowd behind them. And that can be an advantage, but there's a lot of Evertonians at the moment that aren't happy with the money what has been spent, and to find out actually where you are in the league now. Huge game the other day at Turf Moor, a massive game. Had to get 3 points, walked away with nothing at all. So confidence is low. Frank Lampard has not been in this situation. He wasn't as a player and definitely as a manager. So he has to get these players to play and to believe. He came in, when he first came in, he got a couple of results. We thought, well, there we go, they're going to kick on and get the belief. But that is a problem. And this is the season where you would think they have a chance to go down. You know, you look at those bottom teams there. I think you take Norwich away, Watford, Burnley with a huge result. That's going to give them the lift. If they can get a result this weekend, all of a sudden Everton under pressure. They do have the games in hand, so that gives them a little bit of hope. But Manchester United...
The fixture list is poor, though, isn't it, for Everton? Just looking at that, I mean, the sides they've got to come, some big sides in there as well. So they need to, as you say, capitalise on this, another home fixture.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's get it right, up against Manchester United. And Manchester United still have a chance to get into the top 4. A lot of criticism around. But they are capable of putting a big performance, and they will enjoy going to Goodison Park, and they'll probably thrive on them being under pressure. You know, when you're down there, simple things, when you're full of confidence, it's hard to control the ball. You're nervous, you want to be successful, but you try too hard. I know, I've lived my life in the relegation. I've got relegated. I know what it's all about. It's awful down there. And sometimes teams come and they play against you, and they can sense the fear. They can sense that you're nervous on the ball. And I think Manchester United, with the players, what they've got, will realise about that. And I don't see Everton getting anything out of this game. They're going to need a big performance if they do, Everton, but I just think Manchester United, they still have quality, and they can still get into that top 4.
Yeah, and we saw a lot of defensive mistakes again, didn't we, in midweek from Everton. Scoreline from you in this one?
I'll go for 2-0 Manchester United.
Okay, comfortable win for United. More pressure then for Everton. Let's move on to the 5:30 kickoff on Saturday. There's Villa taking on Tottenham, and I guess the big thing is that Tottenham are now level on points with Arsenal. Arsenal do have that game in hand, but a big win last week. Tottenham starting to build some momentum.
They are, and it's the right time to be hitting it as well. They've won the last 3. You look at Villa, they've lost their last 3. I think we're going to have to look at Steven Gerrard. It's there. They've got players there, but it's going to be interesting to see what business he can do in the summer, and you'd expect them to be stronger next season. Spurs, as I've said there, they've hit the form at the right time, but can they really push on? Do they believe that they can get into that top 4? You know, you look at Conte when he first came in, looked like he was throwing the toys out the pram. Things weren't right for him. Was it the right move for him? I thought, well, maybe he's going to walk. He seems to have quietened down a little bit and started to maybe get a little bit of belief. They will go into this game with Villa. It's hard to say what Villa are all about at the moment. We know on their day they can put a performance. Got some wonderful young players, but I just think maybe there's a little bit of pressure at the moment. It's not going the way Steven Gerrard wants it, and there's a lot of work to be done. But I just think you've got Spurs at the moment. You've got Harry Kane, maybe not scoring, but setting up as well. By the way, his all-round game. When I say not scoring, he's got another part to his game. It's providing. We saw last week he was involved with every part of the 5 goals, and he is huge, massive player, and he's at form. And obviously, when he's in form, the rest of the team seems to have that belief as well. And I just think they'll be a little bit too strong for Villa. But expect a little bit of a backlash from Villa. It's not gone so well for them at the moment. Steven Gerrard won't be happy, and I don't think they'll roll over very easy. It'll be a difficult game, but I just think the quality of Spurs is. They've got that momentum going at the moment.
Okay, scoreline for you then, Tight?
Yeah, I'll go for a 1-0 Spurs.
Okay, Spurs to nick it then at Villa Park. Right, let's move on to Sunday then. 2 o'clock kickoff. It is a massive game once again. They all seem to be at this stage of the season. Norwich taking on Burnley. Can Burnley use that momentum from midweek and get another vital 3 points?
Oh, it's huge, yeah. Confidence. It's amazing what a victory does. You know, and Sean Dyche, if he manages to keep Burnley in the Premier League, what an achievement. When one of these big clubs aren't going to look at Sean Dyche, he seems to be laughing at him. The achievement, what he's done by keeping them in the Premier League season after season on next to nothing. But all of a sudden, he's giving himself a little bit of hope. Before the Manchester City game, I thought, after the Manchester City game, I thought, no, they rolled over a little bit there. Maybe they haven't got that fight. But they showed it during the midweek. Huge game against Everton, and they will go to this one now trying to get 6 points out of 2 games, and then all of a sudden they're in the fight. Traditional way of playing football, like a 4-4-2, getting the ball into the box, making it difficult, getting that bit of belief, and all of a sudden he gives himself a bit of hope and makes it interesting down there. I think you would look at maybe there's a few of the teams there that could get dragged into it. If Watford, obviously, and Burnley can start picking a few points up, and the pressure's going to start to lift with the other teams around there. But I just see a victory for Burnley, quite a comfortable victory, to be honest with you.
Okay, Burnley to get another 3 points, and if they do so, of course, and if Everton lose, it means that Everton would be in the bottom 3, going off your predictions, Nicky, coming out of the weekend. So let's talk about the relegation then. I mean, have Leeds and Newcastle done enough now? Is there any 3 from those bottom 4?
Yes. What do you look at? I mean, you look at Norwich. I think it's a matter of time. I think it's been difficult. I think they've had a go, but I see them going down. But obviously, then Watford have shown a little bit of that they may be up for the fight. But they've got to start winning the game as soon as possible to put the pressure on the likes of Everton and Leeds. If Everton can get a result against Manchester United, that could give them that bit of belief just to get out of that bottom 4. But from Leeds, Everton, they're all in the mix. But we just look at Burnley and Watford, and if they can put the pressure on, that's if they can do that, then we have a real relegation battle. But if they can't pick any points up, it's maybe they're going to get away with it. But Everton, Leeds, have they got a little bit too much since the manager's come in? I see that he's obviously worked on the training ground, started to get that little bit of belief. And you would think with the squad what they've got a little bit too much to go down. I would possibly say Everton's the only ones that have got a chance to get dragged into it. But down to the teams, you have to start picking points up.
Yeah, well, as I say, I mean, going off your predictions, it would be Everton in the bottom 3 coming out of the weekend. More pressure on Frank Lampard. It would be, 8 games left then to go and try and salvage something and get in the division once again next season. It's strange, isn't it, with Lampard, because there's a lot of people criticising him, but he did come into a really bad situation. They've had a lot of injuries as well. So how do you see how he's done so far?
Well, this would be a good test for him. As you come in as a manager, I think it's wonderful what he's done up to Everton now, and this is a test. Don't get me wrong. I mean, if he can come through this, you get the bond, you get the belief, and you understand the players under a pressure situation, what they're like. The ones who've got your back, the ones that want to fight. It's okay when you're at the top of the league and everyone wants the ball. When you're down there, it's difficult. So not only is the manager, but the players get to look at themselves now. And he will be, obviously, if he does get the few points and he doesn't go down, he will be looking, and he will know the players he wants for next season around him and the players which he wants to get rid of. But it's a test. It's not easy at all down there. I don't think it's about skill. It's about collective, working together, and somehow or other getting points on the board. Don't think it's going to be pretty at all, and trying to get the belief. I mean, you get a victory. Speaking about Burnley before, what it's like to go on the training ground once you get that victory, how much it lifts you, and you think, come on, this is it now, and that's what they want. They're holding on to that. Do I think Lampard will get through it? I think he will, yeah. But it's going to be a bumpy ride, because everybody's got the knife out at the moment. Everybody's thinking it's going to be the year for Everton to go down, and he has to try and ride through this somehow or other.
Okay, let's look towards the top of the table then. We've already had a look at those 2 in that big match on Sunday. What about those sides looking for the Champions League spots? I mean, Chelsea, of course, a big loss, not only in midweek, but to Brentford. Could they possibly get into the race of the top 4? Are they safe now?
I think they are, yeah. I think there's too much quality there. I think they've, since the international break, it's not gone so well since they've come back. Awful result against Brentford. Don't think really anybody expected that, but it's Eriksen really at Brentford has been wonderful. Absolutely fantastic story there. And he's gone into the Champions League. And do you see them getting back in and making it through to semi-final? I don't think so at all. I think they've left it. It's a huge challenge. And you look at the manager as well with his interview after, was not happy at all. He really was disappointing. I think he tells you the truth. And at the moment, they've just got themselves in a little bit of a rut where they need to get a victory. Too much quality in the team. For me, they will finish third. I don't think there's a problem at all, but the battle is after that. And it's in the hands of Arsenal for me. I know you look at Spurs in fourth, but Arsenal with the game in hand, I think you've got to see the test of the character. You've got to see, and all those teams up there, Spurs, Arsenal, West Ham, fantastic by the way. David Moyes, he's delighted just to be where he is now. You know, if he'd have gone to the start of the season and said, "This is where you are, you're fighting with 8 games to go to get in the top 4," they're pretty much fearless. You know, so they are a problem, West Ham, and they will put pressure on your Spurs and your Arsenal. Let's not forget Manchester United as well. They are more than capable of getting a run and getting into the top 4. But for me, I think Arsenal are going to do it. I think they've got good young players, like what Arteta's all about, and I just think they're going to get in the top 4.
Yeah, that game in hand could be crucial, couldn't it, for Arsenal? All right, let's sign off then by recapping the big game at the weekend. Of course, it is Manchester City hosting Liverpool, and your gut feeling is that City will just about come through. And I guess if they do, Nicky, that means they'll be 4 points clear, and surely, well, it's going to be difficult to stop them win the league.
It is, yeah. Either way, I can't wait. I mean, so excited about this. As I said, they never let us down at all. And if they can come through and get the 3 points, it gives them that little bit of, it gives them that 4 points. But as I said, it could really go either way. Just don't take your eye off the television. But obviously, I just think City, just that little bit more creativity in midfield for me. But as I said, you've got to stop the full-backs. And obviously, it's quite interesting with City because their defence record has been very good. It's just like 18 goals. It's good that. But obviously, Liverpool have scored more goals than Manchester City. So you weigh it up with everything around the pitch, with the quality of the players. I just think City have got a big performance in them. They both have, but I just think that little bit of quality at home is going to give them a 4-point lead.
But it won't be cagey. It'll be a proper game full of excitement.
It's going to be. They don't let us down. The pair of them, the two managers, they just say, "Well, come on, we'll have a go." They will understand City, and vice versa. Let City have the possession, not give them any space with them not playing with a centre forward. But then you watch Liverpool; they will know exactly what to do, hitting them on the counter attack. A little bit more direct, but very, very effective. And it's one of those. The last time I was watching it, was it a chance at the end? I think for Salah. Cleared off the line. It was just end to end, full maximum capacity. You know, and you want to see top football play between two sides. Tune in and watch it and watch that game. It'll be absolutely wonderful. And you love the both managers and all the players out there. Interesting to see what sort of teams both managers are going to play.
Yeah, as a neutral, cannot wait for that one. Right, I know you're a little bit cagey as to who's going to come out on top in that one, just favouring City. So I guess that wouldn't be the best bet of the weekend. What would be?
I'd say Spurs win, United win, Brentford win, and Burnley win.
Wow, okay. The 4-timer.
There you go, yeah. Let's have a little bit of, see a few things going on this weekend. Burnley, as I said to you before, they've got the belief there. Sean Dyche, wow, if you can get 6 points out of 2 games, you're going to put the pressure on the teams down there.
Okay, I only asked for 1 and he gave me 4. Always over
That's what we did.
That's
what
Nicky
we do.
Summerbee all over. Thank you, Nicky. Thank you for watching as well. It's going to be a cracking weekend, isn't it, in the Premier League once again. Cannot wait for that big game on Sunday. Best of luck if you're having a bet.